Welcome back to Planned in the South. Today we are getting started on our series of our Southern Living, our readers' top rated recipes. So we will be using this book, and beginning at the very end of most of the Southern Living books, they have pre-made menus. So they're super nice, rather than going through a cookbook or flipping through Pinterest or TikTok or all those things trying to find a full meal, whereas you're having to take a bunch of recipes and put them together. Southern Living has already put a menu together for you. And so when we are doing this series, we will be taking the grilled maple chipotle pork chop with smoked Gouda grits. So we will be taking that and actually making that plant-based. And what I mean when I say plant-based is the base of the meal is not going to be an animal protein. It will be some type of plant-based meat, tofu, seitan, maybe a pre-made soy product. Not so often that, but we will be making that our main star, our main protein, and making that kind of the heart of the dish, because that's what Southern meals are. The heart of the dish is your animal protein. So we will just be swapping that out for some type of plant protein. It's going to taste just as good. It's going to be just as pretty. And some of these, if you served them to guests, they would not even know. So that's our main goal here. So today we're going to be doing a grilled maple chipotle pork chop, smoked Gouda grits, sweet potato biscuits, and then they do have dessert there, but we don't need to be eating desserts at this house, so we will be leaving the dessert out. So the first thing that we are going to make today is we're going to go ahead and prep our sweet potato biscuits. So it is a dough that we are making from scratch. So I'm going to make this in the morning so that we can let it rise all day so it doubles in size and is nice and fluffy and not a real dense biscuit. So we'll go ahead and get started making that and then put it out in the sun so that it can rise. All right, so here I have a 1/4 cup of warm water, and then I have just one of these little packets of active dry yeast, and I cannot get it open. So I'm just going to add the active dry yeast into the warm water, and I am gonna let it sit for 5 minutes in the water so that it can get moving. All right, the next thing the recipe says do is add in, so this is 1 can of sweet potatoes drained, and then I just took a fork and mashed them up. So they're just a regular kind of mashed up sweet potato consistency. So we're gonna add this to a bowl. I'm gonna get it all out, we're not wasting any here. And then we have 1 stick of softened melted butter here. So we're gonna add that into our sweet potato mixture. And I am just following the recipe from the book, guys. I mean, I'm just strictly got the recipe right here and just looking over and following it exactly. So we're just gonna mix that up so that those are nice and incorporated together. It already smells really good. I love sweet potatoes and butter together. And I do have Country Crock plant-based olive oil butter. So that is the butter that I'm using. If you don't have that butter, if you just have regular butter, just use it. You know, this is not a vegan page by any means. This is not a full vegetarian page. This is strictly, you know, trading out some of that animal protein to plant-based protein sometimes. I mean, we eat like this during the week, but on the weekends, sometimes we eat meat, you know. It's not anything more than trying to be a little bit healthier for us. All right, so I've got that nice and mixed up. I like the way that is looking. It turned it to a little bit of a lighter orange color. I think that looks pretty good. All right, next thing we're gonna do here is add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. All right, that looks good. And then I have 2½ cups of all-purpose flour here. So we'll just kind of mix that in. I think I'm gonna do it slowly so I can get a chance to stir some of it in a bit. I think I need to swap pans. All right, there we go. That's going better. All right, there we go. I was done with that. Done holding that up. So let's get this all mixed up. So I'm gonna mix it up for a little bit, and then I'm gonna start kneading it. I think I'm gonna get it a little bit thicker before I start kneading the dough. And again, first time making bread, this could totally be wrong, but we'll find out. Okay, it's about how I want it. Ooh, still kind of sticky. Whatever. All right. I'm going in. I'm just kind of scooping my hand around the side of the bowl, trying to get it all mixed up there. And it is definitely forming a dough. It's still very, very sticky. So I know that I need to keep going if that is the case. I have watched enough cooking shows on TV to know this is not right yet, but it's coming along. So that is positive. Lightly knead until dough holds together. So we're getting there. This is definitely forming a dough. I don't know. Is it bad? Should I like not take it out? Like I almost want to take it out of the bowl. Okay, I know this is not right. Oh, but this is coming together because it's definitely getting less sticky. I like it in my hand better. I had to put it back down because it was too big. Okay, screw it. I'm putting it on the counter. It's not sticking to the bowl. It's just sticking to my hand. So that's why I think I'm getting there. Yeah, okay. Yes, I like it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Ooh, 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 don't stick. You're a happy dough. I have no idea if this is right or not. Okay, I am going to say that's pretty good. It's really not, this is old stuff sticking. It's really not sticking to my fingers too much. So I'm gonna say that this is good. It looks really pretty. So if anything, I have a pretty looking dough right now. So I have a large bowl because I want this thing to double. So I have a large bowl. I did go ahead and butter it. And I'm just gonna throw my dough down in there. Okay, I am gonna brush the top with just a little bit of melted butter. I'll tell you, if anything, it looks good. It looks pretty so far. I am happy with it. My first time ever making bread. I'm happy with the way the dough turned out. I could set this to proof and it may do absolutely nothing and I may be really disappointed. But, you know, you have to figure it out at some point. So this is the best way we're gonna figure it out. So I'm gonna cover it with a clean dish towel here. And then I'm actually gonna set it in a window with some sun on it because it is a little bit cool in my house and it says it needs to rise at 85 degrees for 2.5 hours. So I'm definitely gonna let it rise for longer than 2.5 hours unless it just like bubbles up. I'm just gonna be checking it periodically. So I'll come back and let you guys know how long I did actually let it rise for. And then we'll see what it looks like after that. If y'all couldn't tell, I was a little concerned about my bread dough this morning, but it definitely doubled in size. I did have it sitting for a while, definitely longer than 2.5 hours, but it was cooler today. So we definitely did have to have it rise for a while, but it did rise. So I'm gonna punch it down as it says, and I'm going to roll it out onto a floured surface and get to rolling. So excited it actually rose. Okay, it actually rolled out really nicely. It did not try to stick. So we have that flattened out to, it's pretty even. It's about 1/2 inch all the way across. And it says you use a 2-inch cutter to cut them. I don't have that. I have this like floury thing. It'll be cute and it's fallish. So I'm just gonna cut out my biscuits with that. Oh, if that ain't freaking cute right there. All right, so I rolled my dough out and I ended up getting 14 little star biscuit, flour biscuit, whatever you want to call it. But they look really good. So I have them on my sheet pan here and they are going to go in the oven at 350 for about 12 minutes. All right, now for our maple grilled pork chops, we are making Seitan. I actually got this recipe from Plant-Based Bistro, so I'll tag them below. It looks like a pork chop when you get done making it. You can use it pork, chicken, anything like that. All right, so I got my dough about right. So now I just need to knead it. And so I'm just kind of taking it and kind of like Play-Doh, just kind of folding it over until I want to get it to where when I pull it, it's not breaking any longer. I want it to really be like a dough. So just keep kneading it. I think it's probably gonna take, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes or so, but just kneading it until it's no longer breaking. All right, so I've got it the consistency that I want it. And so since I want 2 pork chops, I'm just gonna split it into 2, just like you would a dough. So just half in the dough. And then I'm just gonna kind of patty it out, make this be a boneless pork chop to where I'm gonna say about 1/4 inch thick. I like my pork chops thinner, so this will be a thinly sliced pork chop. But yeah, so I'll get both of these pattied out. I got my 2 pork chop patties here. And so I've got a little bit of oil in my pan and I'm just gonna throw it down in there, fry it for a minute. We're just gonna fry that about 3 minutes per side until it has a good crust on it. And my seitan's been cooking about 3 minutes per side. It's got a nice little crust on it. You can hear it when you tap on it. So let me throw it into the broth here. And so I have vegetable broth, and then I also had some like not real ham, but ham bouillon. So I threw that in there just to give it that pork flavor, and then I just put some all-purpose seasonings and salt and pepper and all that in there. So we're gonna let that sit in there. You want it just bubbling, not a rolling boil, but a little bit of a boil. And we're gonna let that sit in there for 20 minutes to cook. We are smoked Gouda grits. So on the back burner here, I have, I'm lowering the recipe because I don't need to feed 8 I just have 2 cups of water, a 1/3 cup of milk, and I'm bringing that to a boil, and then I will get our grits going. So I got my grits going back here. Do not look at my dirty stove. The grits, they boiled over. It happens, whatever. But so the grits is going back here. They'll be done in about 15 minutes. I did not have quick cooking grits. That's what the recipe calls for, but I didn't have it. I wasn't going to the store to buy it because these are just fine. My seitan has been cooking for about 20 minutes. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this skillet that I cooked it in back on and make sure it has a little bit of oil on the bottom of it. And then I'm just going to put the seitan patties back in it just to get all the extra moisture from the broth and everything off of them so they can really crisp up, because these are maple glazed pork chops. Well, I'm not making a maple glaze for a seitan, but I do have some Sweet Baby Rays that we're going to put on them and then put them in the air fryer so they get that nice crunchy kind of crispiness with the caramelized barbecue sauce on them. Throw this back in the pan here. So we transferred from the broth over into the hot skillet. It's sizzling, and we'll probably just have them maybe 2 minutes per side just to get that extra moisture off. Butter, lots of cheese. We like it really cheesy over here. Seitan is nice and crisped up, so I am just going to put it on my tray for my air fryer, and I'm gonna put some Sweet Baby Rays on it, pop it in the air fryer, and just let that get nice and caramelized on top, and then we'll be about ready to plate and eat. So our biscuits are done. So we have it plated up here. We have our seitan pork chop. So I did put barbecue sauce on it and put it in the air fryer just to caramelize it there on top. We have our smoked Gouda cheese grits, and we have our sweet potato biscuit here. There's not enough color on this plate for me, so I'm gonna make me a little side salad with it as well, and that'll be my supper.